parked almost in the middle of the road with at least 8 traffic officers clustered in front of it while involved in an argument with the driver. In a twinkle of an eye, fire erupted and caught the traffic managers unaware. Not all of them were lucky to escape unhurt. It is the latest show of defiance from drivers who have long complained about extortion by state officials on Lagos roads. Meanwhile, Adebayo Taufik, the Director of Public Affairs and Enlightenment Department at LASMA, confirmed the incident, stating that one of the officers got some bones on his hand from the attack. In the meantime, the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, has accused politicians from the southeast of fueling insecurity in the region due to what they call their political witch hunting, mutual recriminations, and backbiting. The Biafra agitators, in a statement issued on Tuesday by its media and publicity, Emma Powerful, called on politicians in the region to attack the root cause of insecurity instead of wasting time fighting the group and truncating every effort to release its leader, Nnamdi Kanu, from detention. In the statement, the group urged Southeast politicians to wake up and stop sponsoring the political thugs in the region in the hope of discrediting the activities of IPOB. And in a recent development, the World Bank has approved $50 million in support of Nigeria's food nutrition challenges. Country Director of the World Bank, Njame Diop, revealed this during a meeting with Vice President Kashim Shettima at the presidential villa in Abuja on Tuesday. According to Diop, the fund was earmarked under the Accelerated Nutrition Results in Nigeria and RIN Project 2.0 program, which is a crisis response window. While speaking during the visit, Shettima reaffirmed Nigeria's commitment to addressing its growing nutrition challenges through a community-driven strategy aimed at transforming nutrition outcomes across Nigeria's 774 local government areas. You're currently listening to the World News at 12 right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. We're now going to the analysis segment, and for that I have revered journalist with many years of experience, as well as political, social, national and international affairs analyst, Mr. Chukwuma Okoro. Always a pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much for coming. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Chairman. Thanks for having me.
So Donald Trump has finally been declared the president, the 47th president. He's been elected as the 47th president of the United States. Many Nigerians are rejoicing. I don't know if you saw that viral video of some Northerners putting on white T-shirts and waving U.S. flags and singing for Trump, talking about how they are supporting him. But the question is, what does a Trump presidency portend for Nigeria? How does his emergence help Nigeria and other African countries? Why are Nigerians so happy that Trump is president?
Oh, well, Chairman, I think Trump is become a man of history because he's not just the 47th president of the United States of America. He's also the 45th and 47th at the same time.
And a convicted felon.
And a convicted fellow, but not a sentenced fellow. So that makes him a man of history, you know. And if you talk about what it portends for Nigeria, Africa, and the world at large, I think Trump's victory, the battle has been fought and lost. The loss is America's loss. It's not Kamala Harris' loss. And the win is America's win. It's not Trump's win. Because either way it swings, it's going to tell on the future of America and global politics to the extent that, well, America has played a primary role. You know, America has a primacy in global politics. And that is why there's this level of intensity about who becomes the American president every 4 years. But if you bring it back home to Nigeria here, I would like to think that many people support Trump for various reasons, best known to them. And if you go out there, you know, there are so many speculations, so many postulations about why Trump, you know, people that were rooting for Trump. I understand the LGBTQ saga and how it played out between Obama, the Democrats, and the Jonathan presidency. You know, because a lot of people believe that, look, Obama was behind Buhari's win and that he didn't support Jonathan because clearly Jonathan not just rejected the LGBTQ legislation here, but he in fact criminalized it. You know, and there was a bill he signed into law criminalizing it. If you are found or if you're an accomplice in that era, you have to pay some penalty for it. So a lot of Nigerians hold that against Obama and the Democrats. And the fact that even President Jonathan in his book came out clearly to say, look, Barack Obama made personal calls to me, and he was clearly against my presidency. So I think a couple of Nigerians hold it against him. That said, we also have Nigerians that say that, well, the Trump presidency is going to bring good things to Nigeria. I have heard people say that if Trump becomes president, he's going to fight insecurity in Nigeria, that he's going to stop the killing of Christians in some parts of the north, that he's going to stop the ethnic cleansing that pervades the middle belt. And I asked them, Trump was president for 4 years, and it's interspersed with the presidency of President President Muhammadu Buhari. And what happened?
Let's talk about Trump's popularity in Nigeria. Would you say it's due to the angle of morality, his stand against abortion, LGBTQ, and immigration? Because some Nigerians consider themselves conservative at heart, and of course, LGBTQ is criminalized in Nigeria.
Choma, I just made that statement now about I juxtaposed it with how Obama interfered in the Nigerian presidency in 2015, clearly because of Jonathan rejecting the LGBT bill, that said, look, you have to make it a law in Nigeria. And Jonathan rejected it. So a couple of people warm up to Trump because of his stance on abortion, his stance on LGBT, but a couple of people, many people also question Trump's Christianity. Is it so Christian? Because what are the values that Trump shares?
He was convicted of payment of hush money to an adult film star, which was disguised as business transactions, and there are other pending cases against him. No matter what we say, the truth.
Stormy Daniels, we are talking about the Stormy Daniels case. Yes. So that is why I'm trying to position this in the light of the fact, and I ask the question: how much religious is Trump himself? You see, there's this thing about political populism. Trump is a leader who rides on populist ideas, populist agenda, to drive himself, into. Trump has a playbook, and part of his playbook is that you have to remain relevant in politics, hook or crook. You have to be relevant either by hook or by crook. And because if you look at the values that Trump shares, the white supremacist value, is it something that somebody should be proud of? Trump is a nationalist, not just a nationalist, but an ultra-nationalist to the extent that he pursues his interest exclusively. I mean, look at what he's doing with it. Choma, when Trump says, we will not be occupied, do you know what that means? When he says, make America great again, do you know what that means? He is trying to recreate the Anglo-Saxon legacy, which is clearly on the descent in American history. Okay. Because if you look at the demographics, I said it the other day, I don't know whether it was you or Esther. I said, look, if you put the number of the whites, the Anglo-Saxon, if you remove the Polacks, Polacks are people from Hungary, Poland, Eastern Europe, and all of that, they don't see those people clearly as whites, So if you put their number together with that of blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, Asians, and all of that, they clearly outnumber the whites. So that is the struggle in America now. And you have to look at the Electoral College too. I mean, 180 million people will stroll out into the polls. People have been voting for the past 1 or 2 weeks, for the past days, 5 days, 6 days. And somebody wins the election, and you have 320 people gather in one room to say, this is the person we want. Is that democratic?
But I want to talk about the idealism of the Democrats and the Republicans. Where exactly did the Democrats get it wrong in this election? Would you say having Joe Biden on the ballot would have favored the Democrats more than fielding Kamala Harris as a candidate, or the world is just not yet ready to give a woman that level of power?
I think the presidency of Joe Biden rubbed off negatively on Kamala Harris. Not just because that she's a woman. I mean, if you talk about being a woman, Hillary Clinton beat Trump. It was this same electoral college that gave the victory to Trump. So it's not about America being ready or not being ready about a female presidency. What happened to Kamala Harris is the same thing that happened to Hillary Clinton. If you look at 2016. If you look at the presidency, as a bloc, Hillary was felt. It was felt that Hillary would be an extension of the Obama presidency. So that is why the Electoral College more like conspired against him, because clearly they didn't like how Obama was appeasing the Middle East, the Islamic nation, to be very clear on that, So they didn't like the way Obama was appeasing it. I mean, Obama gave Iran a nuclear deal. Clearly. And Trump was like, look, if you go by this deal, within the next 5, 10, 15 years, Iran will have a nuclear weapon in their hands.
Talking about Trump.
So IPAC wasn't comfortable with that. You know, IPAC, Israeli-America Public Affairs Committee. They weren't comfortable with that. And that was what influenced. If you look at what the Obama doctrine, how it played out in Afghanistan, how it played out in Benghazi, you know, during the Libya attack and all of that. So they felt that that doctrine will be an extension, that Hillary's victory will be an extension of the Obama presidency. And they didn't like it. The establishment didn't like it. That was why they handed over that ticket to Donald Trump.
Let's go back to the criminal charges and the cases against Trump. He still has a court appearance on November 26, right? Student to president, America has literally voted in a felon, a convicted person, right? Shouldn't a president be clean of all crimes? What right does America have to criticize any other country's leadership, or electoral system with this? I want you to recall that Trump more or less desecrated the White House when he urged his supporters to invade the Capitol. And yes, now he's president for the second time.
Choma, that's why I told you that America is not quite democratic. When we say that America is the bastion of democracy, we lose the context of it. We lose the perception that, look, this country that we are even talking about, this country that we are upholding, you know, as the ideal of democracy, isn't quite democratic. And I think I've made a trace of how that electoral college rubs off. You see, the thing is all about interests. The diversity of America is being tested, you know, by what happened during the January 6th insurrection and how the court case played out. But I also like the fact that we could relate with it to the extent that, look, if you go to the United States of America, if you are a president, if you are a Senate president or what, if the long arm of the law wants to catch up with you, it will clearly happen. Jamal, do you see the possibility of an African president being tried while he is on seat or while he is an ex-president? How often does it happen in Africa? You know, so if you talk about democracy itself in America has undergone savage assault and it's on the decline, it's on the descent. That is why I keep going back to that establishment trying to be very protective of Trump. Why? Because he's Anglo-Saxon. It doesn't happen elsewhere. You know, so if you put all of this together, you begin to understand that America is democratic just on the face value of it. But if you look at the foundations, you discover that it's just like politics. The more things change, the more they remain the same.
All right, then. So the United States saw an influx of immigrants under Biden, leading to allegations of perceived election rigging, or you're allowing these people come in so that when it's time for election, you can use them to your advantage. The case of immigration was a major point of contention during the campaigns. The Nigerians and other Africans who are happy that Trump has won the presidency, do they realize that Trump closed up the borders when he was president? Do they realize that a Trump presidency means that immigration pathways will be much more tighter than it was?
Choma, unfortunately, I'm sorry to say this on air. Africans suffer from what we call collective amnesia. You know, that is why we are held down. Something happens today, we talk about it for 2-3 days, and by next week we move on because another thing will have happened in the space and replaced that one. How will an African, you know, support Trump based on the fact that if you look back and saw what Trump did with immigration, you know, he was calling Africans all sorts of names. He tried to build a wall between Mexico and the United States of America. He stopped people he was about deporting Africans back to Africa. You know, and people are here jubilating. People are here chanting. Meanwhile, this same Trump discountenanced the fact that he was born in the United States of America. Look at what he did to Obama. He put it out there that Obama wasn't even born in America and said all sorts of things just to discredit him. His grandparents also migrated to the United States of America. I mean, that's a new world that people came. And people lose sight of the fact that Africa's 400 years, the spoliation of Africa for 400 years through slavery is what was used to build that new world that Trump wants to stop Africans and others from coming. So don't they remember that? Don't they recall that? That the foundations of America the labor, the hands, the raw hands, the blood, the pens, the deaths of Africans is what was used to build the America that Trump wants to stop them from coming. So we suffer from collective amnesia and all of that. But like Choma, it has happened. He's won the presidency, and for another 4 years, let us see how it pans out. But he didn't build those walls against the Anglo-Saxon. People from Ireland, people from England, people from Germany, people from France. They were given waivers. They had opportunities to come to the United States of America as immigrants.
Mr. Okoro, in a minute so that we can come back to our own national issues, because the Chief of Army Staff is there and we should actually be talking about that. Those people who feel that a Trump presidency will benefit Nigerians in one way or the other, are they correct?
Well, Choma, I'm not sure that they are correct. You know why I say that? America's primacy in international politics is clearly on decline. America is struggling for its life. China is up. We have a resurgent Russia. We have BRICS. We have AFTA. So America has a lot to deal with. Trump has a lot to deal with. Trump has a lot to deal with in the American population, like the demographics that are changing. That is what I'm telling you. Probably he's going to continue with the war that he stopped halfway. He's going to stop that. He's going to go into the trade agreements, the trade problems with China. He's going to contend with BRICS. BRICS wants to, I think, like 22 partner organizations and all of that, and some of them will begin to ascend to full membership in 2 days, in 2 years or so.
Can he stop the war between Israel and Gaza, Lebanon, Iran, Iraq on different fronts right now? Can Trump actually wade into that and make it stop?
Jama, the fact is that Iran didn't want Trump. Israel wanted Trump.
And now they've got what they wanted. Let's come back to our
Benjamin Netanyahu was the first foreign leader, the first world leader to congratulate him. I understand our own president has also congratulated Trump. So like I said, let's see what the next 4 years holds for the world and for Africa in particular.
Again, I say let's come back to our own national issues. Nigeria has lost her chief of army staff, and of course the acting has taken over. But there are speculations that this did not just happen. Besides, the special advisor to the president on information and strategy, Bayo Onanuga, is saying that the deceased passed away on Tuesday night in Lagos. But before, we were told he went on vacation, and then we were told he went out to treat himself for sickness. When did he return to Lagos and nobody knew?
Well, Choma, the fact is that first of all, our hearts go out to the family of the former chief of army staff. I mean, death is an end that awaits every mortal, that awaits every being. That said, I also have a problem with the communications arms of most government agencies. The military didn't handle it very well. The presidency also didn't handle it well. But staying from the outside, there are so many things we don't understand about how the play of politics, the interplay of so many factors, within the political arena. It is easy to believe that when his death, made a hoax on the scene, it is easier now to believe that probably the man would have died by then. But what I think that the presidency was doing was to manage it, to see how it will walk through succession. How it will walk through succession. Because you have just raised cogent questions now. We were told that the man was somewhere in Europe, either France or where, undergoing treatment. And the army authorities said, well, he was on vacation, but alongside taking medications for his ill health. The army authority came out to say, when it was rumored that an acting chief of army staff had been appointed, the military authorities came out to say, no, we don't have a position in the military for acting chief of army staff. There's nothing like that in the army. How many days down the line? Forgetting that we also, in the recent past, somebody had been appointed acting chief of army staff. On top of my head, I can't recall his name, but one Anoka or something like that. Now, 4, 5, 6 days down the line, the president made an appointment of an acting chief of army staff. Yesterday, he decorated the new chief of army staff and promoted him from major general to a lieutenant general. And the following morning, we are being told that the former chief of army staff, Tauri Lagbaja, is dead. That he died in Lagos. When was he brought back? I mean, this was as our chief of army staff, highly placed in the military hierarchy. So clearly, the military authorities, the communications arm of the government, didn't manage it very well. And it doesn't stop there. It's everywhere. Look at between NMPCL and all of that, the issue and reissue at the same time. So I am saying that it is most likely, I am not very firm, but because of the way it's been handled, it is most likely that something might have happened to the man, even when they were denying that he was still alive.
All right, let's go to Delta State, where the PDP is calling on the EFCC to immediately release a former governor of the state, Ifeanyi Okowa. In fact, the PDP is saying that Delta State government has not said his money is missing. EFCC is playing the role of a litigant and the prosecution, going to the media with an investigation that is purportedly ongoing, saying it's a dangerous development that must be condemned. And really, the Delta State government has not come out to say its money is missing. The PDP is also saying, you people only went after Okowa, who was Atiku's vice presidential candidate, after Atiku started heavily criticizing this administration.
So why didn't the government go after Atiku? I mean, Atiku was vice president. Why would they pick at Ifeanyi Okowa? You know, I think it's the PDP that should be condemned for taking this position. I mean, do you know what 1.3 trillion naira is? And you wait until Delta State government says, oh, our money is missing. Who will say that? Has any governor ever said that, oh, our money is missing, except when he starts having problem with his predecessor? PDP shouldn't take that position, and they have been economical with the truth. The EFCC, as an anti-graft agency, has the right to investigate if they suspect, and that is clearly, I think that is what they have done. And they have arrested Ifeanyi Okowa. He's answering questions because, I mean, the EFCC will not just wake up and say, a Delta State government is looking for 1.3 trillion naira. They must have had information to that. Who knows even if a petition had been raised against Ifeanyi Okowa? You know, so I don't expect PDP at this time, you know, at this threshold of our history to come and start making such. So are they saying that we should not fight corruption, even if it is selective? If there are no other APC governors, you know, that have stolen or are alleged to have stolen money, let them make a petition.
That was also mentioned. Some former governors and leaders in the ruling party had some financial management allegations against them, and they're working freely. Yaya Bello, case in point.
Is Yaya Bello working free?
Well,
the EFCC is after them. The EFCC is after him.
He did walk into their office, and prosecution is yet to take place. But then, because of our time, a driver in Lagos State yesterday set himself and some LASTMA officials ablaze. This takes us back to the issue of Lagos commercial drivers complaining about being extorted by LASTMA. Is it time for the Lagos State government actually wade into this issue? Because I don't know if you saw that video. This person literally set themselves ablaze in order to protest extortion. Well,
Choma, I think it's long overdue for the security, the paramilitary agencies, or how do you put them? Is it paramilitary or all these agencies like LASTMA, VIO, FRC, and all of that? It's time for them to caution themselves and become very mindful of their conduct and engagement with the public, especially at this time that Nigerians are very hungry. Not just hungry, but angry and frustrated. I watched that video, but I couldn't. At a point, I thought it was the driver himself, but I also later discovered that the driver put the fire and ran away. And the fire caught one of the LASTMA officials who, luckily for himself, he was able to unstrip himself. I don't know what the video didn't actually show what eventually became of him. Yes. Now, that said, I said that, like I said earlier, these authorities should caution themselves. They work like they have a target to meet. They work like they have a target to meet because, I mean, I also don't agree to the fact that bus drivers, road users, you know, should disrespect them. But at this time, there should be that kind of balance, you know, between how you arrest people, how you conduct yourself. And it's a two-way thing. I also call on Nigerians, you know. Choma, that was something that we describe as road rage. At the end of the day, you know, something happened in Enugu last week. The same VIO was pursuing a commercial vehicle, and in the process, an accident happened. The woman, there was no death recorded, but the lady VIO official was badly injured. I don't know if she will ever come out of that, because her body was mangled, her leg was destroyed, and all of that. So it calls to caution both on those authorities and the road users. I mean, if a LASTMA official stops you, for goodness sake, stop and answer questions.
Okay, then. Our time is fast spent, Mr. Chukuma Okoro, and we need to go. But of course, the conversation will continue on the World News at 6. It's always a pleasure having you here. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, Choma.
Thank you so much for coming. You have been listening to the World News at 12 right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. Just before we wrap up, let's take a look at the top stories again. You heard that Trump has claimed the victory over Kamala Harris in the U.S. presidential election. Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja, is dead. PDP demands a Kawa's release, accuses EFCC of witch hunting opposition. A Lagos driver set South and last more officials ablaze. IPOB accuses Southeast politicians of fueling insecurity in the region. And that is a wrap on the World News at 12. My name is Choma Innocent. Good afternoon and thank you for listening.